Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
I
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today's August 20th, 2025, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. The Texas House, they are still debating regarding new racist congressional maps introduced by Texas Republicans. We'll go live there, plus we'll talk with State Rep. Yolanda Jones, who she says, I ain't there because, frankly, this is a whole bunch of BS. California Governor Gavin Newsom is pushing a bold plan to change congressional districts in his state that could create 5 new Democratic congressional seats. And, well, guess what? Republicans are upset, including one Republican, Kevin Kiley, who all of a sudden now he's against political gerrymandering, yet he voted against outlawing partisan gerrymandering. A significant victory for black voters in Mississippi. A federal judge says the state must redraw its Supreme Court election map. We'll explain what that's all about. Also on today's show, Donald Trump, you know, that twice-impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief, the con man. He promised his policy agenda would help black middle class succeed. Well, we know that's BS. We'll talk with a breakdown for the Center for American Progress. Also, Jillian Michaels goes on CNN's Abby Phillips show, and she gets in hot water about slavery. Here's a real question. Why y'all got a dumbass fitness person talking about history and politics on CNN? Oh, and Joe Scarborough. I got a few words to say to him as well. You know, the resident Republican at MSNBC, he says that Gavin Newsom should not be tweeting the way Donald Trump tweets. But didn't Joe and Mika go down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss Trump's ass? I'm sorry. I've got some receipts. Plus, tonight's Black Star Network Marketplace will feature international travel chef who has some spices, butters, and sauces. Y'all, it is time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Well, folks, this is a live look at the Texas House where they are set to vote on these racist gerrymandered map. Go ahead and turn up. Let's hear what the line Republican has to say.
Chance to finish my answers. I thought we had ruled that a question and I get to answer.
Members, make sure that you allow each other to finish the question and answer so the members in the gallery can hear the debate.
Thank you. Repeating, do I have all of the Voting Rights Act criteria in front of me? No. Do the lawyers that I've worked with? Yes. Can I go make a call and get it to folks? Yes. You can do the same thing. Section 2 in the Voting Rights Act is what has been looked at in redistricting. Petaway has changed the law. Rucho has changed the law. Many of you, Representative, are talking about 2021. I do get a kind of an interesting deal, everybody. You complain about 2025 and tell me 2021 is okay, but you sued me on 2021. I don't know which way to go. But my point is, do I have them right here? No. But do I feel, you just asked me, do I have the elements? I told you.
I'm asking what you understand it to mean.
I told you, I understand. You want me, let me go back to the beginning of the speech that I gave there.
No, I just want to know.
Well, no, you asked. I read it to you at the very beginning. This was done when we started today.
Okay.
Another important law that we must follow is a federal law known as the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Okay. Although race cannot be the predominant factor in drawing maps, Section 2 of that act prohibits enactment of any plan that restricts minority citizens from having an opportunity to elect their preferred candidate of choice in certain circumstances if they exist. That was my knowledge, and I placed it out at the very beginning of the debate.
And so that's your understanding?
That's my general understanding.
Well, thank you.
There's a lot more.
Thank you for.
And you can go into the various cases. But
did you perform?
Rucha, too, involves the voting rights along with Petaway.
Did you perform any racially polarized voting analysis in drawing these maps?
Okay. I have been asked that question. I will answer it again. Did Todd Hunter personally? No. Did Todd Hunter go to a law firm that performed all review? The answer is yes.
And what is that law firm?
Their name is Butler Snow, which was stated on the microphone a few hours ago.
Okay, and they performed the racially polarized voting analysis and drawing the maps?
I went to the law firm, told them what the goal was. They prepared. If anybody has the specifics, they have it.
But did they perform any racially polarized voting analysis and drawing the maps?
Second time, I told you I have no personal knowledge, but I'm sure the law firm performed everything they needed to do.
What did they need to do?
Well, I hope I'm not the one having to tell law firms what to do, but if they know anything about redistricting, they know about Petaway, they know about Rucho, they know about the Voting Rights Act, they also know about the other Fifth Circuit as well as U.S. Supreme Court. My view is you would go through all of those areas and you rely on the firms, just like your groups are. Some of the ones that you said you represented, I know who your lawyers are. And you go to them, they perform analysis, and they gave you the scripts on your phone today. All I did was go to a law firm, and they orally gave me my information. And then I prepared it out. Did I personally go to everything? No. That's why I rely on professionals who can give me that detail.
You make assumptions, and you know what they say when people make an assumption.
Well, I mean, an assumption could mean anything. So I don't know what you're talking about.
But you assumed that I went with some lawyer.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
You made an assumption about what I did with a lawyer.
No, I did not make it about you.
Did you perform any electoral performance analysis in drawing the majority-minority districts in this map?
Same answer that I've just given you. Same answer that I have given everybody. We went to a law firm who had the expertise. They prepared everything that I was told they needed to do.
Is that a no?
I told you personally I did not.
Thank you.
And I went to a law firm who performed it and gave me the information.
Besides the law firm, did anyone else involved in the creation of this body, of this map, perform that type of analysis?
That I don't know.
The evidence at trial at the League of United Latin American Citizens versus Abbott case, the one that's in El Paso, was that the Attorney General's office has a system to perform racially polarized voting analysis. Was that used at any point on your map before today?
Personal knowledge, I don't know.
And you said that Butler Snow was the...
Butler Snow is the law firm.
And you don't know if they did that type of analysis?
I don't know what they did, but I'm sure they did everything they needed to do.
All right. And this Butler Snow law firm, are they your personal lawyer?
Okay. As I explained earlier in the day, Butler Snow is a law firm that helped in 2021. Because you all sued us in 2021, they continue their representation of me. With congressional redistricting, they were engaged again, and then I was listed because I was already in an attorney relationship with them. So it continues from 2021 to today, but the answer is yes, they represent me.
And do you pay for them with your own campaign money, or do you pay for them with personal money?
I don't pay them.
Who pays for them?
I don't know who specifically pays them, but there's a contract that pays the attorney relationship with me and others.
So
That's already been brought up in the committee hearings.
Oh, I'm just asking.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're asking. I noticed the people that know this aren't at the back mic.
Well, there may be a lot of people who don't know a lot of things.
Well, that's why we're answering your questions.
2021?
I just want to know who you're getting all your feedback up there on your notes. But I'm not going to ask you who.
I wrote them myself.
And I won't ask some of the members who took photos of your scripts to disclose that too.
Okay.
And just remember,
Is it your
Representative,
belief?
in
Is it your belief?
2021,
Sure.
I was the chairman of redistricting. There sure are a lot of you in the back that came and asked me to help you.
Well, that's how you
now
made it.
today,
That's how you had
now
it.
today, I'm getting an attack. So I guess it was okay for you to ask for my help in 2021, and then today attack us.
Well, when we're not included in the process and you
You
control
left
the
for
whole
17 to 19 days. How could you be included?
Again, when
Again, that's correct. Again, in 2021, you did also.
When you oppress, when you are oppressed, you try to flee the oppressor.
We
Is it your
disagree.
belief that you can be fairly
We disagree
confident?
with you.
Is it your belief that you can be fairly confident how a district will vote, Republican or Democrat, by the racial percentage
No.
of the citizen voting age population?
No, I do not
in that
think.
district?
No, you didn't. I get to finish.
Oh, I had to finish
You
my
asked
question.
a question. No, you didn't. You asked me. Nobody knows who's going to win an election. That's why I disagree with most of your all arguments. That doesn't mean a Republican or a Democrat are going to win. You have new criteria that may give people some energy to run and maybe some areas they can do better in, but it doesn't say who's going to win. None of us can predict who's going to win an election.
Then why are you changing the maps now?
Well, one of the reasons is for partisan reasons under Rucho, and to give Republicans an opportunity where they haven't in the past.
The composition of CD 30 under the proposed plan creates a black majority citizen voting age population district in Dallas County. Is that correct?
Congressional 30, to respond to you, the political performance is unchanged. There was no black CVAP in 2021. Now it is a black CVAP in 2025. So everybody has the information. The black CVAP in 30 is 50.41%. The political performance is still Democrat.
Did you or the map drawer perform any analysis to determine if, under the currently enacted plan, black voters could elect their preferred candidates in the current CD 30 as it is composed?
If they did, I have no personal knowledge.
But did you?
I've told you before, Todd Hunter has no personal knowledge. The law firm would have committed and practiced the analysis.
Did you or the map drawer perform any analysis to determine if, under the currently enacted plan, black voters could elect their preferred candidates?
Folks, so again, this is live. This is what's happening right now. And joining us right now is State Representative Jolanda Jones of Houston. She is not there in Austin. Representative Jones, explain to the audience what the hell is going on right now.
I think it's political theater. At the end of the day, the second we gave them a quorum, the goose was cooked, the deal was done, the rigged map passing was going to happen. And so right now, the map author, which is Rep. Todd Hunter, who's the guy in black, who's really not answering any questions and acting like he doesn't know what happened with the law firm and the map drawers.
Yeah, just they just
basically
first he
stating
said he told them what to do. I love this one. He said he told them what to do, then later said, I didn't tell him what to do.
Right, and he's saying he doesn't know what's going on either. But for the Democrats, they're giving speeches that are falling on deaf ears. So it doesn't matter if every one of them says that the maps are racist. It's not going to cause our Republican colleagues to vote against the maps. They're going to vote for it. It's going to be along party lines, I suspect. And I damn sure hope no Democrats vote for it. But, I mean, being there, in my respectful opinion, I mean, I know my constituents didn't want me there. But being there, speaking against it and voting against it doesn't stop it. I wanted a real win, like we had a real win when we quorum broke and they were forced to end the first special session and the maps went nowhere. If we don't give them a quorum. They literally can't refer the map to committee. They can't pass the committee like they did on Monday and get it to the House floor. It wouldn't be on the House floor right now. They couldn't ignore us, be disrespectful to us, patronizing to us, not answer questions with us right now. We wouldn't have to give these speeches that aren't going to do anything to stop the onslaught, the massacre, the lamb marching to slaughter, or democratic rights in the various Texas districts from being decimated, gotten rid of. It's not going to stop the 2 black seats that are being lost in the Houston area and the Dallas area, and some of the Hispanic seats being lost. And it's absolutely not going to stop that the black and brown voters, which have been cracked and packed into districts, it's not going to stop them from losing the right to elect the representative of their choice. So democracy just died for black and brown people in Texas when this passes.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, she tweeted this earlier today. She said, it's time for the Texas Senate to break quorum. It's time to show these Republicans that respect is earned and disrespect and bullying won't be tolerated. If the Senate leaves, the bill fails, and Abbott has to call another session. It has to pass through both chambers in the same session. Now, in the last session, it was a 19-2 vote. That's 21. 9 Democrats walked out. There are only 31 Texas state senators.
All of them would have to walk out.
Right. So all of them would have to walk out. So had all 11 walked out, the Senate can't pass the maps. That was last session. So the House is going through theirs. So Congresswoman Crockett is right. If the 11 Democrats on the Senate side had the guts to do it, if all 11 walked out, they can't pass the maps on the Senate side. So therefore, it can't become law.
Absolutely. But I mean, not everybody's going to walk out. 2 refused to walk out. And so if all of them didn't walk out, then it's not going to change anything.
So they've adjourned today's vote for about an hour. And in the video there, of course, I saw how the 2 Negro Republicans were flanking him. Charles Cunningham, and just so folks know, this is what he looks like. So he was flanked to his right. And then you had Katrina Pearson, the convicted shoplifter, MAGA shoplifter, who was to his left. And so they had their 2 Negro, centerpieces standing right there backing this. And here he is talking about the Voting Rights Act. I mean, it's just utterly shameful to literally have 2 black people flanking this white Republican when they are literally trying to destroy black voting power in Texas.
They're not trying to destroy it. They are destroying it. Plain and simple. And so when it goes to the House, the Senate's already passed it. They're going to be reconciled if there are any differences. And then it's going to go to the governor's office, and it's going to be a done deal. So the second we gave them a quorum, we gave them everything they needed to be able to disenfranchise the black and brown and poor voters. And I'm just going to speak for the Houston area and the Dallas area. In the Houston area, Texas 18, Texas 9, and Texas 29. In the Dallas area, Texas 30 and Texas 33. Like, off the jump, we're going to lose 2 black seats and probably 1 Hispanic seat.
Take us, okay, so let's talk about these maps. And so now, maps were passed first of all, there were maps that were looked at in the first session. Okay?
Right, those are dead. We killed them.
Okay, those are dead. Then they went back and made some changes to the maps, and from my understanding, they made it worse.
They did.
Okay, so
believe it or not, they did.
Okay,
yeah,
so which map do you want me to pull up? You want me to pull up this one, or do you want me to pull up the other one?
So I can't see, Roland.
So this is Harris County.
Okay,
then
so go
there's
right
the
there.
state.
So that one that you see right there.
This one here?
So that is Texas.
Okay. So
right, that is the entire Texas map.
Okay.
Right. So and if you look at the red lines are the current. If you look at the top, it says U.S. Congressional Districts Plan was at C2133.
Yeah.
Those are the lines right here, right now, right? So if you look at the red lines, which are dividing up congressional districts, you will see in most of Texas, there aren't hardly any red lines. So they haven't touched those places.
So what you're talking about out here, so we're talking about Amarillo, we're talking about Midland, El Paso, all those areas.
They haven't touched their stuff.
So, but the places where they touch, right here,
Houston and Dallas.
Right here, this is Dallas. Right here,
it's Houston.
It's Houston.
Now, Roland, go up to the top right-hand corner because that's so small, because it's so condensed. Top right-hand corner. No. Up to
I got it.
Go over there. That's Dallas. Now, you see those red squiggly lines?
Yep.
Look at the numbers, Roland. You see the red number 30? Do you see it?
Yep.
Which is Dallas. That is what Jasmine Crockett currently represents.
Yep.
The black number 30 is what it's going to be afterwards. So it's the blue part. So if you look at the red lines where it says a red 30, look at the lines. Trace it like you're in elementary school. That is 30. So you will see there's some yellow in there now where the blue is. Like the blue is there, cutting that out of it. So the only thing that's red, that's 30 now, under the black, is like where you see the blue stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They've totally made it different. If you look at the current 33, find the red number 33. Where is it?
Right.
It's all the way over to the left.
Yeah, right. It's right there.
Right. That's currently Mark Vesey's seat. Now go to the black part, the black 33. That's where they moved it to.
Right there, the center part where that yellow is.
Right. So they've just changed it.
So they flipped 33 from Tarrant County to Dallas County.
Yes. And Mark Vesey is strong in Tarrant County. They also moved Jasmine Crockett's house into 33 as well. So if you go down, Roland, to Houston, I think you'll see 9, 8, right there. If you look at the red 9, you see how it's down low?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Look where the current 9 is, all the way up to the top to the right.
Wow.
Okay? If you look at, I mean, if this shit wasn't so serious, it'd be funny. Look to the red 18. You see where it's at up there?
Give me 1 second. I want to, State Representative Harold Dutton is at the microphone. I want to hear what he has to say. Let's go live back to Texas.
Okay.
Notice on call say final passage of the bill.
Mr. Dutton, the call on the House, the motion made by the body was for final passage.
And the note says final passage.
I'm sorry?
I'm looking at the note. I didn't see final passage on the note that people were given, the notice that people were given.
Mr. Dutton, I cannot hear you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry, Mr. Dutton.
One of the notices I saw about being on the call didn't say final passage.
The call was made, the motion by the body was until it's finally completed on third reading.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Mr. Hunter for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move to direct the chief clerk when engrossing HB 4 to incorporate into Article 2 of the bill the text of the census geography for each district that describes.
Let's go back to Representative Jolanda Jones here. And so we'll be monitoring what happens there. And so you have described this as diabolical and surgical.
And racist.
And racist, obviously. And so and so when you listen to them say, oh, well, we work this law firm. The reality is Republicans have these law firms that are using algorithms. And we saw this in Wisconsin several years ago, where they're using the algorithms to sit here and draw these districts. I forgot the Republican who was the leader of this. He died. His daughter, who was progressive, turned over his computer to actually show how diabolical these folks are when they are drawing these lines. And we've seen them do this in Wisconsin, in Georgia, in North Carolina. And so this is their national plan of what they're doing. And what they are hoping and praying, they're hoping and praying that the Supreme Court will not invalidate these districts based upon Section 2. But here's what we know. Even though this is a right-wing Supreme Court, and again, they can always flip, well, they rule unconstitutional the maps in Louisiana. They rule unconstitutional the maps in Alabama. They just ruled again, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled the congressional maps in Louisiana unconstitutional. The state maps in Louisiana as unconstitutional. So these Texas Republicans, and now they're trying to play the game. Now they're saying, oh, no, Representative Jones. We're doing this for partisan reasons, but in the very proclamation from the governor, he cited the Trump letter saying that the districts, the seats were drawn, they were unconstitutional because of race. So what's hilarious is the Trump people threw that out. Then they went, oh, shit, hold up. Damn, that's right. Racial gerrymandering is illegal. No. We're doing it because it's partisan.
Yeah, but they're actually stupider than that. So, yes, the DOJ letter says racist. But at the first hearings, those sham hearings?
Yep.
All the Republicans testified, all the Republicans who were on the committee literally said, including the chair of the redistricting committee, Cody Vasut, because, I started off on the committee, I stepped down. He said the only reason we're having these hearings is because of the DOJ letter. That's all they said. We don't know why.
But this is the same guy who later said it had nothing to do with the DOJ letter.
Yeah, no, but for the first 3 hearings, and look, if you paid attention to the hearings, you will see some interchange between Congressman Crockett and I. Both of us are lawyers. Both of us graduated from the University of Houston Law School, and we played them like a funky piano. We got it on the record of them saying exactly why they were having these redistricting racist maps. So they already said it. And in my mind, I was thinking, damn, they stupid. Like, it's lawyers up here. Why are they saying that? Because racist redistricting is unconstitutional. Somebody got to them and said, don't say racist, say it's political. Then next thing, so they got their little talking points, they got their little marching orders, and now they're saying, no, it's political. No, it's political. Well, guess what? All of the redistricting hearings, even if they were kangaroo court ones, are coming in as evidence. Y'all already put y'all's foot in y'all's mouth. So you going back now and lying now isn't going to change them lies you said at the beginning. So were you lying then or are you lying now? So anyway, if I was a trial lawyer in that case, I would love to put Todd Hunter on the witness stand. I would love to put Cody Vasut on the witness stand. I'd love to put all those people on. That's Todd Hunter, by the way, on the witness stand.
Well, and he was complaining about, well, y'all are suing me on the 2021 maps. And the same Republicans were in court saying the 2021 maps, race was not a factor. But then the Trump DOJ says it was a factor. And the Republicans go, oh, you're right, it is. We got to withdraw. We got to redraw them. They were literally in court saying no. They were defending the current maps.
Exactly. So they didn't have, again, my mother always told me, Jolanda, don't be surprised when white folks white. That's just what she told me, right? Because this country is built on white supremacy, they're used to getting their way. They're used to saying everything and everybody saying, yes, massa, whatever you say. And so from a legal perspective, they've already caused themselves difficulty in the case because I went to the redistricting hearings and I questioned people and I asked my colleagues. And in fact, I believe they changed the rules because I was asking my colleagues questions initially to get them to say things on the record. And at some point, by the time I went to the second hearing, they were like, oh, you can't ask your colleagues questions because you're not on the committee anymore. So it's like y'all just changing the rules in the middle of shit. But it doesn't matter. I love that I'm a lawyer and I'm glad that I got a public school legal education. But we have enough on the record. If the Supreme Court is inclined to defend the Voting Rights Act, the evidence is there. But again, they were saying one set of facts, fiction, when the redistricting hearing started, and now they're on another one. They've been whipped into line. And you, for the most part, you ain't see no black people when the Republicans were giving their little speeches, and they were condescending and patronizing and not respectful. But I mean, Katrina is a Republican. Charles is a Republican. So they're standing with the Republicans.
And so, again, Democrats in Texas are hinging all of this on a legal fight. And the point that you have made, and the point that I agree with, is the most guaranteed way for these maps never to become law is to never give them a quorum, whether in the House or the Senate.
Right. And I sent you something, Roland. You'd have to find it. It's some graphs. And if you could, come
on now. I'm good. Come on, let's go.
Oh, okay. Because I was just going to show you what they did to CD9 and CD18.
Okay. Go ahead and explain it before I go to my panel. Go ahead.
So when you look at the maps for CD9 and CD18, hold on, I'm going to pull it up right here. It's called a 340 report. And what a 340 report is it tells what the districts are going to be when they finish. So if you go look at CD9, for example, of CD9, hold on. Wait a minute, let me find it. It is craziness. When you look at CD9, where is it? CD9, which is what Congressman Green currently represents, only 2.9% of the current CD9 will still be CD9. We might as well say it's the new one. Of CD9, 2.9% is going to stay itself. They are pulling 43.7% of CD29 and putting it into CD9. CD29 is what Sylvia Garcia said. Remember that 9 was way up to the top now?
Yeah.
So 43.7% of CD9 is coming from 29, and 40.7% of the new CD9 is coming from like either Wesley Hunt or this other guy named. In either case, they're white Republicans. So that's what Congressman Green will be left over.
Yep.
If you go to CD 18, which is where Congressman Turner was, CD 18 is keeping only 25.8% of its current self. They are taking 64.5% of CD 18. So go to the 18 on the left. And 64.5% of CD 18 is coming from Congressman Green's. So for the most part, they've collapsed it, but they've moved it down. They're taking 8.2% of the new CD 18 from CD 29, which is where Sylvia Garcia is. So CD 18 looks nothing like it used to. And if you look at CD 19, if you look at 19 is keeping 100% of itself. So they're not screwing with CD 19.
Right.
This is a hot mess, and it's racist.
Absolutely.
So look at those numbers. It's craziness. It's freaking craziness.
State Representative Jolanda Jones, we appreciate it. We'll see what the next salvo in this battle is.
Thank you for having me, Roland. Thank you for showing people what is with facts and receipts.
All right. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you.
My panel, Robert Patillo, Civil Rights Attorney, Communications Director for Congressman Jonathan Jackson, joining from Atlanta. Mondale Robinson, Principal Black Male Voter Project Mayor, Enfield, North Carolina. Yasmin Neal, a Georgia State Representative out of Atlanta. Yasmin, I want to start with you. Listen, y'all have to go through this here. And you're a little bit different in Georgia in that Republicans don't control everything like they do in Texas, but it's damn near close. And again, what we're seeing is this is the real deal. They are scared to death of losing the House next year. They know their policies suck. They know, look, you've got companies that are filing for bankruptcy. You've got companies raising prices. Energy prices are up 10%. We could talk about gas, eggs, and everything. And so the Republicans are like there. So there's some 35 vulnerable Republicans, and they're like, yo, We got to sit here and create some type of advantage. The DCCC put this list out right here of saying 2026 districts in play, and they're trying to protect as many of these seats as possible because in their mind, they think they're going to lose anywhere from 10 to 12 seats next year. So if they could steal seats in Texas, Indiana, Florida, there's a couple other places, Missouri, they're trying everything they can because they know it's going to be hard to run with these Trump policies next year.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. So I think it's other states tend to be very, very volatile for this reason. We have had our fair share of fights in Georgia, but recently it hasn't been as volatile as we're seeing in the Texas and Tennessees of the world. And I think it's only going to get worse. Unfortunately, across this nation, to your point, like you just mentioned, they're going to continue to try to change maps in different states. And on the flip side, the Democrats are starting to do the same. They're starting to reevaluate if they're going to start changing their maps, and those conversations have started already. So going into this next election is actually going to be very interesting, and we're diving into the unknown now. I have never in the history of this country seen this play out in this way. So we are actually diving into the unknown. I cannot predict what's about to happen, but I do know, to your point, that maps across this nation are about to change.
I'll say this here. I won't say, Mondale, that this is the unknown. In fact, if we actually go back to history, we have seen this. We saw this in North Carolina. We saw this during the period of the end of Reconstruction. And so this is history repeating itself. What you have is you have direct attacks on black representation. And what they want to do, Mondale, and you're there in North Carolina, and what Republicans have been doing in North Carolina, and everything in North Carolina, which now we're seeing nationally, goes back to 2008. Everything goes back to 2008. North Carolina, Obama wins that state by 14,100 votes. North Carolina used to have awful voter turnout. It dramatically improved in 2008, and they said, oh, hell no, we can't have this. And so with the midterms in 2010, they took power, and ever since 2010, it has been a 15-year battle, back and forth, fighting partisan gerrymandering, racial gerrymandering, racist attacks, closing of voting locations. And this is why people have to understand they can't play around with the vote, because these people they're showing when they get power and absolute power, they will wield it in an evil way.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said something, Roland. You've been saying Texas, but you've also been saying national. People do not need to be fooled and think that what's happening in Texas is only about Texas. This is about control of the federal government, not Texas state government. Republicans already have that control, even though most of their voters are a minority of that state. What I mean by that, this is information that Vasut should know, even though he said himself in that redistricting hearing when it first started back in July, that he was not aware that Texas had become a majority minority state. And that is because he has not looked at the census data. And I think Texas and other southern states like North Carolina, where I live, all are aware that this is the only way they can win. I think the difference, what I'm seeing right now, though, is how out loud these people are with cheating. We've seen them cheat before, counting grains of sugar, grandfather clause. We've seen them cheat before behind the cloak of it's equal if anybody can count the grains of sugar, even though we know only certain people had to count those grains. But right now they're cheating out loud in front of cameras. This representative, Todd Hunter, just said out loud that Butler Snow was his law firm. Everybody and their mama should be upset about that. Butler Snow is the same law firm that a federal judge kicked some of their lawyers, all of their lawyers, off a case because they made up their own citations for an AI crime. These are the people this Bama right here just said that. He just named Butler Snow. So we should all be looking at whatever information that Butler Snow produced, because it's probably fraud, because they have that type of history. They also are the same firm that created a super PAC back in 2008, Roland, to help Republicans. 2002 to help Republicans in Georgia. So this is not these are white supremacists working with other white supremacists in different aspects of social life. And then the representative just said something that's telling, and it might get missed if people are not paying attention. She said Charles is a Republican. She said Katrina is a Republican. We're talking about two black Republicans. What she didn't say was that they are black too. And she said they're standing with Republicans. So how can you be black and stand with Republicans when you know the harm will hurt your community, but for that addiction to white supremacy?
This is the article that Mondale was referring to. A judge disqualifies 3 Butler Chanel attorneys from case over AI citations. That took place just last month. Robert, what I keep getting to, and we hammer this and we hammer this, we hammer this. This is why we were telling people to stop listening to these dumbasses running their mouth on YouTube, telling black people not to vote, saying that Kamala was the same as Donald Trump, because we saw this. We saw this coming. We knew what was coming. We understood what happens when they take control of these state legislatures. What happens when we don't vote. I mean, again, in North Carolina, had Sherry Beasley gotten 402 votes, she would have been re-elected Chief Justice of the North Carolina Supreme Court. Democrats would have had a 6-1 advantage on the Supreme Court. Instead, the white guy who was mad that he didn't get appointed ran against her, beat her. Democrats went down 4-3 in North Carolina. Next election, a candidate, he decides to run for another office, doesn't even win that one. They lose. Republicans then all of a sudden, now they have a 5-2 advantage. They want to take out Anita Earls next year in North Carolina because there are 3 Republican seats that are up in 2028. We saw what happened in Wisconsin when Democrats won that seat, got a 4-3 majority, and what do they do? Boom, they rule unconstitutional partisan gerrymandering. They allow drop boxes to come back. And so for the dumbasses, Robert, who love talking about, oh my goodness, you shilling for the Democrats, here's a reality. More likely than not, if you have a Democratic opponent, U.S. Supreme Court or state Supreme Court, you're likely going to have fair maps, no racial gerrymandering, ending partisan gerrymandering, and you're going to have greater access to the ballot box. That ain't white, that ain't black, that ain't Republican, Democrat. That's a fact. And so if I care about our people voting, there's no way in hell, Robert, I'm going to consider voting for a party or an individual that reps a party that wants to keep my people from voting.
Look, Roland, one of the things I think people need to remember is this was all written down before the election. None of this is new information. Yep. All of this, every single page of this is in Project 2025. I have to walk past military Humvees and MRAPs on my way to and from work every day. That is page 555 of Project 2025, the 3rd paragraph down. Taking over state elections, redistricting. That's like 3 chapters into Project 2025. If you want to know what's going to happen next, just read the rest of the damn thing they put out and told you they were going to do. Nothing is new, nothing is surprising, and they didn't even try to trick you. They just knew that if you want to hide something from black folks, put it in a book, and then send out some rappers and some entertainers to keep their attention away. Where are all those people who were talking about Kamala wasn't black enough? Where are all those folks at? Where are all those people who said they voted for Trump because Haitians were eating all the dogs and cats, and that's why it was important for them to support real foundational black Americans and ADOS and all that stuff? Where are those people at right now? Well, we are going to lose the right to vote for potentially a generation. Because realize this is just a continuation. They're chipping away at the Voting Rights Act of 1965, turning into basically a dormant law, meaning it's still on the books. They didn't overturn it. It just has absolutely no meaning, no power, and no impact going forward. At this point in time, we can only, in the most vague sense, call ourselves a democracy because we literally have openly politicians picking their voters as if it's a raffle or a rally, or they're on the pickup basketball court. They're saying, I want those voters over there, because they will keep me in power. We're not in a representative democracy where the people come together, and if you want more people to vote for you, put policies in place that will get more people to vote for you. You simply draw a line and cut out the people who don't support you. So we need to hold these folks to account and help them to understand come 2026, the reason they are running scared is if Democrats get control of the House of Representatives, that means on day one, articles of impeachment get filed against Donald Trump. That means on day one, you're going to change the chairmanships over so you can have actual oversight hearings where you can actually pull these people in. You can actually have an understanding of just how deep the Trump corruption goes. On day one, you can start, and if you take the Senate, being able to defer these Trump nominees, pushing through new budget items, and getting ready to win back the White House in 2028. Donald Trump understands the entirety of his presidency hinges on maintaining power in 2026. The only way you make these changes he's made permanent is by them maintaining the House and getting a bigger majority in the Senate in the next election. And we need to hold these folks accountable. And we need to come together and realize that if you support tanks in the streets of D.C., they'll be in a city near you soon if they win in 2026.
Absolutely. And when we talk about how are we impacted, listen, black people impacted economically by these decisions over the last several months. Massive cuts to the federal workforce, as well as bans on diversity programs, federal level, corporations, academic as well, hitting black workers the hardest, especially black women. According to a recent analysis conducted by the Center for American Progress, communities from Maryland to Mississippi are feeling this massive squeeze. Fair housing to student loans, small business support, the pathways our families have relied on to climb and stay in the middle class are being chipped away. No, not chipped away. They are being dismantled, ripped away, putting decades of black progress at risk. William Roberts co-authored this article for the Center for American Progress. He's the Senior Vice President of Rights and Justice there. He joins us now. And William, this is what I have been saying, and this is the phrase that I've been using. What we see right now is a massive effort, a systemic effort to completely defund black America. They want to defund black folks individually. They want to defund black nonprofits. They want to defund black businesses. They want to defund the civil rights organizations and the whole infrastructure. They want to attack every single thing that has aided black folks to get to where we are now in the last 60 years because they want to cement white control and white power. And we have to call it what it is.
Well, Roland, I think that's right. If you look at it and the analysis that my colleague and I did, if you look at all of the avenues, as you said, that over the past 60 years have allowed black folks to create a black middle class, those are all under assault, right? Whether it is employment in the public sector, which is where the black middle class was built because of the fact that the federal government was the first to desegregate way back when, the private sector following suit on the DEI attacks, the full frontal assaults on our educational pathways, the things that it's not just in the dismantling, right, of the Department of Education, but also in the sort of insidious nature that they go after education in their, they call it their big, beautiful bill. It's a big, beautiful betrayal. I use some more colorful language when I'm not on TV about it. But it is really systematic.
You can use whatever. This is Roland Martin Unfiltered. So however you want to use, you can go ahead and use. Go right ahead.
Oh, I know it. But as you said, we have to call it what it is. It is really a systemic attack on blackness and what that means. And, as you all were talking about in the last segment, a lot of this is laid out in Project 2025, which is a document that is in part based on, a white supremacist ideology of the way that they want the country to be set up. You look at it chapter and verse. And so it is really systemic, the way that they are going after, for instance, home ownership, small business development, right? This was supposed to be, at the end of the day, the president that was going to be good for your bottom line and for your pockets. But one of the first things that they went and did was to undermine and cut out the knees of the Minority Business Development Agency that's helped so many black small businesses get started. And folks like Tim Scott on the Republican side, who claimed to be about empowering black small businesses, has been silent.
Oh, totally silent. I mean, he has said nothing. He's running around talking about his empowerment zones and opportunity zones, how great they are. Tim Scott has been silent. Byron Donalds, silent. Wesley Hunt, silent. With the dude out there in Utah, whatever the hell his name is, silent. They've been absolutely silent. Jones out of Michigan, silent. And so they love talking about economics and fiscal policy and all that sort of stuff like that. But Donald Trump is on record. They're on record. They want to get rid of the $37 billion DBE program as well. Silent. And so what you have is, that's why I call them the help. That's all they are. They are the help. They are there to stand next to him and to give him some black flavor and a little seasoning when he needs them, but they are silent on these issues, and that's why I have zero respect for any of them.
It's quite frankly a betrayal for our communities, right? And if you go back to the way Donald Trump was selling himself in this last election, of course we have to cut through the racist nonsense and the noise of immigrants taking black jobs. He would put himself in front of communities like the community I grew up in West Philly and say to folks, well, the economy isn't great for you. And so, Democrats are taking your votes are taking advantage of you, taking you for granted. And so, I've got a economic policy playbook that's going to work for everybody, no matter where you are. I'm about jobs, et cetera. But that's not what it's been about for our communities. And when you erode, undermine, and intentionally destroy those pathways, not just that get people to the black middle class, but keep you there, it really is about intentional systematic destruction. And you have to remember that for black middle class families, no matter how much wealth you accumulated, the wealth is still tenuous, right? Like lots of research over many years that show that there's less security of black middle class folks than there are of our white counterparts and otherwise. And so these are pathways that were about traditionally about hard work, about earning it, et cetera, all the bootstrapping language that you would hear on the right for many generations. But what we've seen since he's come back into office, and certainly since his Republican majorities in Congress have been slashing through these things, is continuing to slam the doors of progress. And as you said, it's not just in a vacuum. If you couple it with the unprecedented attacks on our civil rights protections, both the legal civil rights protections from the Civil Rights Act, the DEI policies that followed in the public and private sector, voting rights, et cetera, you see that it is a systemic attack on the protections that have that were moving us toward a multiracial democracy, right? Like we know realistically, post-civil rights, we were still moving toward a multiracial democracy. We had not arrived. We had earned a bunch of protections and policies put in place, but we had to keep them there. And they have been undermined from the beginning, right? From the 60s on. And so this is part of a long history on the right of trying to undermine these protections in an effort really to take black folks out of these spaces.
And what we have to, and what I keep trying to get folk to understand, and I say this as well, and that is this generation has to recognize that the previous generation, they fought the fights. Folk now got to step up. You can't tweet your way out of this. You can't Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat your way out of this. This is literally where folk are going to have to go old school. And this is where I keep saying they got to get off their asses and they got to walk blocks. They got to walk precincts. They got to go door to door. And again, if there's anybody black, Umar, or any of these fools who say voting don't matter, we got to have black folks to tell them, go to hell because you're full of shit, because the reality is there is nothing in our society, nothing that is not connected to political power.
Absolutely and completely, right? And that is that's sort of the biggest lie the devil ever told was convincing you that it didn't exist, or whatever the quote was, right? Like the notion of telling our communities that voting is disconnected to their power, reinforcing folks who believe that they have no power, that they shouldn't vote. All of the things going on, right? I'm in D.C. as well, so I see the tanks and the MRs on the street and folks patrolling. All of what's going on is tied to political power. And for folks who are on the political left, and black folks especially, we have to like dispense with the whatever discomfort we had with talking about voting and democracy as an exercise of political power, because on the right, for generations, right? They have been very clear about the ways in which they're going to move the courts, move the policy processes to gain political power to do the things that they want to do, which is what they're doing, living out Project 2025. And on the left, we've been uncomfortable for some reason talking about voting and getting engaged in the ways that you're talking about civically and politically, and the policy process as an exercise of power in order to get to a place where we can deliver things for communities. We got to get serious about it.
Absolutely. William, I certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot for this report.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Mondale, I want to go to you. I mean, and this is the thing that and I keep saying this because we got a whole bunch of loud-mouthed ass folk who love running their mouths, and, you know, anybody who blabs got a YouTube channel. And the problem is we got a lot of our people who listen to these fools who think they're dropping knowledge. And what I've made clear, this ain't got a damn thing to do with the Democratic Party, ain't got a damn thing to do with any candidate. What I have been saying is, black folks, don't send your money to the party, send your money to black specific groups that are going to put the money on the ground. If we talk about black interest, black political interest means you step back and you say, here are the issues that I care about. These are my issues. These are my issues in the middle. This is where the Democratic candidate stands on my issues, and then where the Republican candidate stands on my issues. And now I got to make a decision. Which one do I go with? Now, it's another decision. I could sit my ass at home and do nothing. Now, that's a decision. But understand there's a repercussion of even that decision. And that's where we have to get folk to understand. And so I've made it clear, sitting out ain't an option. So when people go, I'm choosing the better of two evils, and I'm sitting there going, you do know one of them gonna win. One of them will win. So whether you like it or not, somebody's gonna win. And so you better make a decision, because if that one that's really, really, really evil wins, and they win with a lot of other evil folks, and they get 218 in the House, and they get 51 in the United States Senate, we're going to have a problem. And we're seeing that right now.
Yeah, listen, let's be clear. Whenever we have an election and the couch gets more votes than either of the candidates because of the stupid ass people like you name, and I think we should be clear. And Roland, I want to say this, and not in contradiction to what you just said, because it's true. We definitely need to be supporting Black-led groups, Black founded groups that are grounded in our community. But we also need to be true. I defend the Democratic Party. I am not shilling for the Democratic Party. Look at the other option, bro. If Republicans don't want me defending Democrats, then they can't show up defending white supremacy. I can't stand for people to sit here and pretend that the lesser two evils mean that these two parties are equal. If that means the Democratic Party is not perfect on black issues or anybody issues for that matter, but they're a lot damn closer than anything you can present to me on the Republican side. And the reason I know it is all I got to do is look at what my lying eyes are telling me. I'm watching an anti-black administration do and continue what they started in their first administration. You have governors from places where they have higher crime rates in some of their red cities threatening to send National Guard to D.C. D.C. is one of, if not the safest big city in this country, with the crime rate dropping faster than most. D.C. has a balanced budget. Donald Trump has never been to a restaurant outside of where he owned the hotel, the old post office in D.C. He gets on a plane and leaves. He knows nothing about D.C. So I'm sitting here talking to people, trying to tell them that you can't tell me in the current iteration of these two parties that there's no damn difference. I know for a fact that if Kamala Harris was our president, we will not be fighting for the life of black colleges. I know for a fact rural America would not be worried about the continuation and closing of hospitals. I know for a fact Justice 40s would still be a program. Justice 40 is a system that was set to take 40% of all federal grants and give it to minority and other oppressed communities. people who had 3 or more census tracts where the population had 30% or higher of poverty rates. Those are Black people in rural spaces. So these idiots on the internet telling people to sit at home, the reason that the couch got 36% of the vote, Trump got 32 and our candidate got 31, need to be called out, and so do the Republicans, which is why I defend the Democrats. Because you can say what you want to say.
Well,
you can't point. Go ahead, brother.
Let's show one of these Republicans, Black Republicans, shilling for them. Go live to Texas.
Don't match your rhetoric. Texas currently has 0 Black CVAP districts, and under the new map, there are 2. Now, I haven't been to 3rd grade in a really long time, but when you go from 0 to 2, that's an increase. Or perhaps you're using liberal logic. I have heard repeatedly that these maps are gerrymandered, but that doesn't fit the narrative either. That's just spin. Because in many parts of the state, the map eliminates gerrymandering. They emphasize compactness in whole counties and whole cities. Political performance isn't just legal, it is fair. And it reflects the voters of the state of Texas. The reality is, the opposition is complaining that we are ungerrymandering the gerrymandering. Another complaint that I've heard is that we're silencing public input. But let me be clear. I sat through over 46 hours of public testimony. I listened, I traveled, and I heard the voices. And those voices are reflected in this map if you actually look at the map. But I understand the frustration. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle, they're struggling right now. Because the fact is, President Trump won Hispanic voters in the state of Texas. I get it, you don't like that. And to address my colleague earlier who asked the chairman if he knew that Blacks fled during slavery, well, they did, and they fled to Republican states. Another fact, in 2024, Democrat lost. President Trump won big. So you're upset, and I get it. You're losing at the ballot box, but you will not silence the majority in the state of Texas. You can throw your tantrum, you can leave, you can run, and you can ignore the will of the rest of the voters. But it's honestly time to pick a new narrative. The racist rhetoric is old. It is seriously stale and long overplayed. Newsflash. Democrats do not own minorities in Texas. The South lost. There are Black and Hispanic and Asian Republicans right here in this chamber who were all elected just like you. Republicans are the majority. So it's not the people of Texas who are racist, it is you. All of these speeches on victimization and this toxic white guilt that I've had to suffer through my entire life, I'm sick of it. The people of Texas have spoken. We have the majority. President Trump flipped 11 out of 18 counties on the Texas-Mexico border. The people of Texas are sick of the rhetoric as well. He doubled his support from 2020, so political performance is the driver. You lost. Get over it. I urge my colleagues to vote in favor of HB4.
Yasmin, first of all, her shoplifting ass lying. First of all, Dallas County, blue. Harris County, blue. Bexar County, blue. Travis County, blue. And so she could sit here and make all this little nonsense up, oh, this, that, and the other. But again, if you want to do something, you can always find a Negro that will sell Black people out, and that's Katrina Pearson.
You know, I hate it when I see a lot of these debates where I feel like people treat the Constitution just like they do the Bible. They pick and choose what they want to acknowledge. Even when she referenced the history of the Republican Party versus the Democratic Party, we all know the Republicans of today are not the same Republicans of yesterday. And so, being unfair and lying about history to justify your stance is one of those common tactics used, but one that we do have to keep fighting against and put truth out so we won't have these issues moving forward. But it's unfortunate to see this happening in Texas.
And the reality, Robert, they can sit here and run their mouths all day if they want to. Bottom line is Katrina Pearson, her party also is the one defending Confederate monuments. In fact, Donald Trump just said, why do you got to keep talking about slavery? Oh, Pete Hegseth and them putting back monuments. So the Republican Party of today, they are the party of the Confederacy. They are the ones who stand with the Confederacy. They are the ones who support Confederate monuments in Texas, in Mississippi, in Alabama, in Tennessee, in states all across the country. So Katrina Pearson, she says it's been a long time since she's been in the third grade. Based on what she just said, I don't see how she graduated to the fourth grade.
Well, going to even a step deeper, they're trying to repeal the 14th Amendment. If you remember that from a few months ago when Donald Trump said he wanted to get rid of birthright citizenship, he wasn't just talking about birthright citizenship. They want to repeal the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. The reason that they are today, he said he wants to take slavery out of the National History Museum is for exactly this reason. They want us to forget the past that we had, and then they can create their own past on top of it. That's where they can start saying, oh, it was Democrats who kept y'all enslaved. Meanwhile, right now, they are trying to repeal all the policies that the radical Republican Reconstruction Congress created between 1865 and 1876. And I find it ironic, as we said earlier, that the same foundational Black Americans, same Americans descended of slavery who were telling us not to vote for Kamala Harris because she wasn't Black enough, are now the ones who put into place the very people who will stop them from ever getting reparations. Because the reason that Donald Trump is doing all of this is to make sure that we never talk about slavery again. That you can't demand reparations if we make sure our entire generation has no idea that it ever took place. They're taking quote-unquote critical race theory out of schools. Why? To make sure the next generation has no idea what came before. This is the same thing that the Romans did when they came into town and burned the libraries, tore down the monuments, and set the museums on fire. There's a reason that they shot the nose off of the Sphinx, because they did not want us to know the history that we came from. We're watching it happen in real time, but we're watching it happen with our own people standing there clapping and applauding. It's as if we're on the Titanic and people are rooting for the iceberg, as opposed to rooting for the life-saving boats. We need to realize the fight that we are currently in is not a theoretical fight in the future. We're no longer talking about what could happen if. We are now knee-deep in the middle of what can only be described as the fascist takeover of America. If you need any proof of that, walk through Washington, D.C., where you'll see federal troops chasing down people, tackling them to the ground, masked individuals, throwing people into unmarked vans, and taking them away to unknown locations. We now have people being deported to South Sudan, to Rwanda, to concentration camps in El Salvador. They're not this isn't just criminals, this isn't just illegals, this is anybody that they feel like picking up. We now have the President of the United States that can dictate college curriculums. They can have shows canceled off of the air, whatever he feels like it, if they criticize him. What the hell else do you need to see before you understand the situation that you're in? It's as if you're sitting in Germany in 1933 and 1934 wondering what's going to happen. And in reality, we are right here, and the saddest part of it is, as Gil Scott-Heron said in Winter in America, nobody's fighting because nobody knows who to save.
Well, we see fighting taking place in California, where Governor Gavin Newsom plans to push forward changes in the various congressional maps. Of course, they lead to a November referendum. A new survey from Newsom's longtime pollster shows 57% of California voters back the plan, with 35% opposed. Newsom says the move is needed to counter what's happening in Texas. It needs approval from California's Democratic-controlled legislature before voters have the final say in November. If it passes, it could dramatically shift the balance of power in California's congressional delegation. Now, Newsom is really getting under Republicans' skin by playing off Trump's playbook. And see, this is when And this is no shock because it's been 10 years since Morning Joe invited me back on because I had the audacity to challenge Joe and Mika, especially Mika. And so if y'all want to hear something stupid, if y'all want to hear just something ignorant, I don't watch the show because, one, I ain't getting up that early in the morning. But this is the BS that passes for analysis on MSNBC's Morning Joe.
The Democrats are trying to find their footing, and it's quite embarrassing, actually. I mean, Gavin Newsom, have you seen what he's doing online? And say, just take a deep breath. Yep. Don't try to turn the ship 180 degrees and they don't know what to do. I have a good idea. Instead of trying to school Donald Trump, talk into the camera about affordability. Talk about making groceries more affordable. Talk about what you're going to do for housing. Talk about what you're going to do for energy prices that continue to go up. We heard the congressman yesterday talk about energy prices skyrocketing in New Jersey. Don't try. As I've been saying, Donald Trump's not on the ballot in 26. He's not on the ballot in 28. Why try to drag Muhammad Ali in the ring when you got Chuck Wepner standing right in front of you? And Wepner's a bleeder. He's a bleeder. You want him. So why are you going, I'm going after Donald? No, you're not. You're not running against Donald Trump. Go after Tweedledee or Tweedledum. Chuck Wepner, a bleeder. Go after him. No disrespect to Chuck Wepner.
Yeah, all due respect, of course.
He kind of held in there long with
inspired Rocky, many people say.
I literally have no idea what the hell he's talking about. First of all, let's unpack this here. So you're complaining that Gavin Newsom is trolling Trump by tweeting the same way Trump tweets. But you ain't said nothing about Trump, Joe. And aren't you the same Joe Scarborough who, with his wife, Mika Brzezinski, went down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss that ass? Under the guise of, we got to do a reset. We got to do a reset. So I'm confused. So, Joe, you want Gavin focused on policy. But Trump gets to do his antics, and that's good? See, I need everybody watching and listening to understand. See, this is what happens. Let's be real clear. Joe Scarborough's a Republican anyway. I remember he had a show called Scarborough Country on MSNBC, and I remember I destroyed him on his own damn show. And then later, all of a sudden gets the morning show. People are like, oh my God, Joe and Mika. No. Joe Scarborough, Republican. Don't buy the independent bullshit. It's all nonsense. He's a Republican, okay? So why would a Democrat take advice from a Republican on MSNBC anyway? I don't care if Biden used to watch Joe Scarborough and he would get advice from watching Joe Scarborough. That's part of the problem. If Biden ass had watched this damn show, then he probably would have been able to fight a lot harder. But that's what happens when you watch soft ass mainstream television. But let me get back to this whole deal. So Scarborough wants to sit here and say he shouldn't be doing this, when what Gavin Newsom is doing what the hell I've been saying for years to do. How you got to fight back. How you got to mock his trifling ass. How you got to go after him. Oh, no, you should really be talking about policy. You should be focusing on affordability. You should be focusing on these things. Really? Well, maybe if you and Mark Halperin weren't just laughing and kikiing when Trump ran the first time, when y'all let him come on the air anytime he wanted to by phone. Oh, I'm sorry, you thought we forgot? You mean when he also beat Hillary and Mika was giving him advice on different folks to hire like Dina Powell? Oh, I'm sorry, you thought I forgot that too? No, hell no. See, I shop at CVS. I got them long-ass receipts, Joe. See, what y'all got to understand is this is the BS that comes out. And so the Joe Scarboroughs of the world, they want Gavin to be the fine, upstanding, don't say those things, don't do those things. But then we got Cray Cray over here, and they laugh and kiki and think everything is good. Nah. You got to swing. You got to mock him. You got to sit there and get under his skin. But no, they want to play nice. That's what they want to do. So y'all got to understand, this is why I keep telling y'all why it's a bunch of these shows you should waste your time watching. You are giving your eyeballs and your ears to shows that really don't give a damn about you. Robert just laid it out. We are literally in a war. And when you are in a war, you use every tool that you can. So ignore Joe Scarborough. Gavin Newsom tossed his advice in the trash can because it ain't worth nothing. And in fact, I dare say part of Democrats' problem today is because y'all been doing more damn listening to Joe Scarborough, and y'all should be listening to the folk who come on this show because we giving you the real as opposed to that Republican light stuff, which ain't doing nothing. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Joe Scarborough ain't breaking down the defunding of Black America on Morning Joe. Tell me how in-depth Mika, remember her Women Lead or whatever the hell that thing was in her book? Tell me how in-depth Mika is going on 300,000 Black women being out of the workforce. Oh, by all means. So I know they'll have Reverend Al come on, and they had him on talking about slavery. No. I want to know, tell me when Mika and Joe talked about Trump wanting to get rid of the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program. Tell me when Mika and Joe talked about Trump ending the settlement in Lowndes County where you had Black folks having sewage backed up in their yards and their houses. Tell me when Mika and Joe talked about Trump pulling out of that racial discrimination case in Texas that ProPublica broke down. Tell me when Mika and Joe talked about the attacks that we're seeing on African Americans left and right. In fact, if you understand, tell me when Mika and Joe are talking about the new attack. You got this historic Black woman, Lisa Cook, on the Federal Reserve, and Donald Trump put out, go to my iPad, tweet, Cook must resign now. Another Black woman who he is attacking. More Black people watch MSNBC than any other network. And y'all are being bamboozled, led astray, run amok by listening to that type of nonsense. Robert, this is the moment where people need to be getting real information, unfiltered, unvarnished, truthful, even if it hurts their feelings, and wasting their time watching Joe Scarborough with that BS is just really nonsensical.
Important that we now have the democratization of information, that we no longer are just tied into 3 major networks or 4 or 5 cable news networks. You can actually get real information and real drill down discussions. I think most people who are truly informed watch very little of the mainstream media. I personally, I get almost all my news from international press because they give you an unbiased, unvarnished view of what's taking place as opposed to essentially propaganda. There was just today, they released the information from the Fox News.
Robert, 1 second. Let's go to the Texas House. Go to Texas House real quick. Go.
Lock the doors. The Speaker's desk is clear. Mr. Guerin moves that the House recess pending the reading and referral of bills and receipt of messages and administrative actions till 10 a.m. Thursday. Is there objection? Chair hears none. The House stands recessed pending the reading and referral of bills, receipt of messages, and administrative actions.
So now the Texas Republicans are unlocking the doors. They just passed the racist gerrymandered maps, and they're letting people now freely leave. Robert, go ahead and finish your point.
To that point, we have to realize that these things are happening in real time. And this morning, I can't tell you the number of people and the number of messages I got from folks asking me, what exactly is going on in Texas and why is this black woman locked away inside of the chamber? That is the first time it actually penetrated through my timeline, as it would be on social media, that people realized that the gerrymandering fight was even taking place. The reason for that is the mainstream media is so busy chasing Epstein. They're so busy chasing whatever Donald Trump is doing on a given day. They don't actually cover the real stories that are affecting people on a daily basis here. So this is why it's so crucial for people to, one, take the information into their own hands. Don't just trust that the person on the news wearing makeup is going to tell you what's going on. I can tell you right now, majority of the folks on cable news telling you what is going on are just unemployed people who just happen to be free at 10 o'clock in the morning. That is the main criteria for being on cable news. I've done it for a long time. You don't have to be qualified. You ain't got to know a damn thing. One time they had me debating Miss Ohio on campaign finance reform. You have to take into your own hands the information that you are receiving, because otherwise they get to dictate to you that information. Roland, I think this is why it's so important what you are doing and why it's so important for us to continue to support, because if we do not, we lose our access to information.
Well, Yasmin, bottom line is just here. It all comes down to, yes, right information, proper information, but also, again, this is no time to be scared. And when I watch, listen, like I said, it's been 10 years since I've been on Morning Joe. 10 years. It'll be next month, it'll be 4 years since I was on ABC This Week after I directly challenged Chris Christie, and I was at NABJ talking to an ABC exec, and they said that, you know, that was a little much. That was, you know, we'd like to have, you know, that was just a little too aggressive. And I'm sitting here going, I said, hell, that wasn't aggressive. I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, that was a 3. But again, they don't want folk to be challenged on their nonsense. They want to play the nice little collegial game where they all go along to get along. And again, then before the show in the green room and after, they all kiki and hee-hee and like we all friends. Listen, I'm real clear. It's some folk I ain't friends with. It's some people, we ain't sitting here joking and chilling in the green room, because when that red light come on, that telly light come on, I'm ready to go on that show and put your ass in a rhetorical body bag.
Yeah, so I understand your reasoning, and at the same time, in the capitals across America, Democrats, especially Democrats, have to make those decisions. Like you said, are we going to work with the other side, try to get what we can get done, or are we going to stay on the attack? And so that, to your point, is so funny. It's like you're not in the back rooms, but you sound like you are familiar with the back rooms. That is a fine line that. Oh yeah,
I'm familiar with the back rooms, but I mean, and look, I understand. Yeah. I understand negotiation. I understand bipartisanship. But when you have people who literally are essentially trying to destroy the hard-fought rights black people spill blood to get, no, I don't compromise on that.
Absolutely. And even when it comes to negotiations, you have to have your non-negotiables. There's just some things you're not going to budge on, and you need to stick to that. And we do need to use our platforms. Gavin is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Whether the other side likes it or not, he's supposed to be telling the truth. He's supposed to be galvanizing his base. That is what he's supposed to be doing. So it's just unfortunate when the other side does the exact same thing. It's a problem. But when we do it, it's okay, pardon me, but when we do it, it's a problem. So all of us politicians need to do the same thing. Use our platforms, tell the truth on our platforms, because there are too many other forms of media that are not telling the truth.
Well, Mondale, all these media people, Joe and Mika included, they laughed about Trump. That's just Trump being Trump. I never forget when the New York Times did an article about how Trump treats women. And on Morning Joe, Joe Scarborough and Mark Halperin were like, well, that's all y'all got? That's just Trump being Trump. what they've done, what these mainstream media outlets have done, MSNBC, Fox News, CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, New York Times, Washington Post, we can go on and on and on. What they've done is they've let outrageous stuff that Trump does, that 1 centimeter, if Joe Biden had done it, or Kamala, or President Barack Obama, if they had done it, oh my God, it would be wall-to-wall coverage. This is where they go. Oh, that's just Trump being Trump. They have normalized his evil.
Yeah, and I think, and it's not even just Trump. They've normalized all of the Republicans' evil. And what we see is it benefits them. Like they get away with let's just say this. Nobody, and I mean, when I say nobody, I'm talking about nobody that's going to determine the outcome of an election is watching Joe Scarborough. We know who's watching Joe Scarborough. Those people are Democrat loyalists. Let's be clear. That are looking for something soft on their ears. They're not even critical thinkers at all. And that's you have to know that, because criticizing how the response from the California governor, when you have no criticism for Donald Trump, and when you said, I think people might have missed what you said, Roland. You said he went down to Mar-a-Lago. People need to know that you're talking about after this election. Yeah. That's not the first time. They went the first time, and they went back again this time after Trump said what he said about this man.
We have to do a reset where we got all that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that reset also must cause them to forget what reality is. Because while Joe is saying you shouldn't be doing this and you should be talking about policy, it looks like Gavin Newsom's campaign has put him in the top on social media. He's outpacing J.D. Vance's memes. He's outpacing Trump. He's getting more retweets. And I think people need to know that we need to be in front of these voters, like Robert said, that are not watching mainstream media. Folk that sometimes only get their media. We saw that 25% of black men last election cycle got all of their media from social media. So, but for this response to Trump, mocking Trump, black men may miss the entire conversation about why California needs to redistrict, because what's happening in Texas, regardless of what the black Katie Britt has to say, I think her name is Katrina, regardless of what she has to say, it is a national issue. And she can tout those numbers about how Trump won. But she didn't tell you that over 6% of people that voted in 2020 sat out the 2024 election. So it's not like more people are voting for Trump, but for those white folk. So I think we need to make sure that people don't believe that the only way or the right way to get their messaging is from mainstream media. And they are on this network that is talking about the defunding of Black America. I hadn't heard that yet, but I'm damn sure going to take it and not give you any credit for it, Roland, because that's a powerful statement. Because just like they were against defunding police officers, they're damn sure not against defunding the Black America, as Trump has set out the whole agenda to just do just that.
Well, you could try not to give credit, but it's been on YouTube for 7 months, so that ain't gonna work. All right, let me go to a break. I gotta do a marketplace segment, but I gotta pick up something on the flip side of that that I know y'all gonna tear into. Folks, you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars make it possible for us. Listen, we're going to be on the road this fall, traveling, doing town halls, broadcasts from different states, especially different cities around Virginia. So your support is really needed. And so please contribute to us via Cash App by using the Stripe QR code. You see the QR code right here. Click the Cash App button. You can also use that QR code for the purpose of credit cards, checks, and money orders. Please do me a favor, y'all. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Please, not Black Star Network, not Bring the Funk, not Uncle Roro, but please, Roland Martin Unfiltered. That's for banking reasons. This funds all of the shows on the network. That's how the bank account was initially set up. So please make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. And again, if y'all send checks, y'all gotta give us at least, 2 months to process. I need y'all to understand, okay? Like literally, I just want y'all to understand giving checks. I appreciate the folks who give check, but listen, it ain't gonna be cash like in a week. All right, need y'all to understand that. Okay, so for instance, we go by the post office at least once every 2 weeks. I gotta see. Look right here. No. Give me the tight shot. Give me a tight shot. Okay, listen. This is just half of the checks I got in the last run. I gotta open every envelope. I got to sign the back of each one. I got to take a picture of it. Some checks and money orders don't process. I got to actually send them to the bank. Okay, then we have to document all the names, add to our list. All right, I went to the post office today. These are all the envelopes and checks that were there. So just understand, when you send checks and money orders, it takes some time to process it because I don't have an intern doing this. I need y'all to understand. I actually do this. I don't want your money in the hands of. I actually am the one who goes to the post office. I'm the only one got a key, who picks this stuff up, who sits at my kitchen table, opens each envelope, separates the envelope from the notes y'all got inside, the check and money order. Then I sign the back of all of them. Then I do the mobile deposit. It's a whole process, y'all. Just want to let y'all know that. So checks and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Send it to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 2003. Come on, put it back on the screen. Guys, thank you very much. Let's go. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 2003, 7-0196. PayPal's R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Be right back.
This week on A Balanced Life, we're discussing all things young adulting. You've graduated high school, now what? I know you're ready to move out of your parents' home and do your own thing, get on college campus and have fun with your friends, but there's some tips and tools that you'll need in order to be able to enjoy the journey to young adulthood.
Just walked across that stage, you excited, you bout it, you ready to live your life. You don't have to listen to your parents, you come and go as you want. But do you have the funds to live the lifestyle that you have grown accustomed to?
That's all next here on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie on Black Star Network.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Black Americans have 1/10 the wealth of their white counterparts. But how did we get here? It's a huge gap. Well, that's why we need to know the history and what we need to do to turn our income into wealth. Financial author and journalist Rodney Brooks joins us to tell us exactly what we need to do to achieve financial success.
You can't talk about why we are, as Black people, where we are, unless you talk about how we got here.
Bridging the Gap and Getting Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Latasha from the A.
And you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, on tonight's ShopBlackStarNetwork.com marketplace, we're bringing the world straight to your plate. International travel chef Joanne Thomas has traveled the globe, tasting cuisine and savoring flavors from the bustling streets of Paris to the vibrant markets of Morocco. Now she's sharing those tastes with us. She takes us inside to, of course, some new products that she has launched. Let's get right into it with Chef Joanne Thomas. How you doing? Hold on, can't hear you. Hold on, say it again.
I said I am fabulous. How are you?
Doing great. Glad to have you here. So walk us through, what are these products? I have one right here, these various butters. And so explain these butters, because I thought just one type of butter.
No, I've created garlic compound butters. So I have a buttermilk honey vanilla bean butter, an OM garlic roasted garlic herb butter, sweet and sassy honey sriracha butter, brown sugar baked cinnamon molasses butter, and I believe that's the one that I sent you, and then indulge me chocolate butter.
Okay, so how are these butters used? I mean, are they used like jelly, like peanut butter? Are they, I mean, walk me through how these gourmet butters are used. My brother's an executive chef, so he probably is like, oh, I can tell you, but how are they used?
Yeah, most people immediately go to, I'm going to put this on bread. But I always try to educate my customers on thinking outside of the box. So, for example, the butter honey vanilla bean butter, I season salmon with my signature spice blend, roast it in the oven, and as soon as it comes out, I put the honey butter on it and let it melt through. For the garlic butter, I use it to finish steaks, vegetables, garlic mashed potatoes. The honey sriracha butter, I use it on avocado toast. It's great on seafood. The brown sugar cinnamon butter, a roasted pork loin, sauteed apples. So there's so many different things that you can do. French toast, and then the indulgent chocolate butter. I actually put that on a coffee crusted beef tenderloin, melted and tossed popcorn in it. So think way out of the box besides food.
If I look at my panel between, let me see, Robert, Robert, Yasmin, and Mondale. Robert probably the bougiest, so he probably knows full well about all of these different butters. So Robert, what's your question?
One, I am not bougie. Bougie is bourgeoisie, which is the middle class. I'm an aristocrat, so I will just point that out.
To black people, that's the same damn thing. Go ahead.
No. You got to look at the French Revolutionary history. But on this point of the butter, so I usually use a compound butter on whenever I cook a ribeye. Normally, I will cook it about 122 degrees in the sous vide, and then blacken it on the black top, then put cowboy butter. When it comes to the compound butters, you have often I do a whipped brown butter where you leave the particulates in the bottom. You can have the Maillard reaction and the umami flavor in it. Are you planning on expanding out to create more options, or even a whipped compound butter that could be used, as Roland said, to be spread on toast?
Well, these butters are whipped compound butters.
Okay, so those are the details we needed, Roland.
Even if we did a sous vide.
Go ahead, Joanne, say it again.
I said these are whipped compound butters, so you will get that effect that you're trying to get, even if you did a sous vide steak and then put it on the grill.
Got it. Yasmin, go ahead. You use any of these butters, Yasmin? Hold on, you on mute. There you go. Come on, guys, have the microphone up, please.
The most I use is
Yasmin, hold on, Yasmin, say it again. The most you use is what?
A garlic butter.
The most you use is a garlic butter? Oh, so Joanne's like, look, baby, you gotta increase your palate.
Yeah, I'm not as bougie as Robert. All the other compound butters and all the things. I'm not familiar. Pretty basic.
But you definitely have to familiarize yourself with it. It will change your life, I'm telling you.
Mondale, what you got?
Yeah, Roland, you're right. I'm not bougie at all, but I cook a lot. So I got a question about like the fat content of your butter. Is it closer to American butter, or is it European? European butter is less.
It's closer to American butter.
Okay, perfect. So I was thinking about, do you suggest bacon with any of your butters?
You can bake with them, but because they are flavored, and as far as the brown sugar cinnamon butter is what I'm thinking you want to bake with, it can alter the recipe. So, bacon is scientific. So you want to make sure that the sugar content for your recipe doesn't interfere with that when you're baking with the brown sugar cinnamon butter.
Thank you.
All right, folks.
However, you can saute apples and put it on like pie dough or pastry dough and bake that off as itself, and you'll have an apple galette.
All right, folks, if y'all want to check out Chef Joanne's various butters, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. You see it right there on the website. You see all of her products right there on the website. You can check it out. And again, you can buy them directly from shopblackstarnetwork.com. Joanne, final comment.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited to share my brand and my products with you all. And I hope to have new customers soon.
All right, then. Well, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Again, folks, shopblackstarnetwork.com to check out the products of Chef Joanne Thomas. You can go there right now and place your orders. Got to go to a break. I'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr, we welcome the Black Star Network's very own Roland Martin, who joins us to talk about his new book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. The book explains so much about what we're going through in this country right now, and how, as white people head toward becoming a racial minority, it's going to get, well, let's just say, even more interesting.
We are going to see more violence. We're going to see more vitriol, because as each day passes, it is a nail in that coffin.
The one and only Roland Martin on the next Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
How you doing? My name is Mark Carey, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Deep into it, like pasteurized milk without the 2%. We getting deep. You want to turn that shit off? We're doing an interview, motherfucker.
Stupidity that we see happening on cable news all the time. And CNN is a perfect example. So last week on the Abby Phillips show, which airs each night, this fitness person, Jillian Michaels, MAGA nutcase, I think she's now doing some conservative, The View option, whatever the hell. So they were talking about Donald Trump's attacks on the Smithsonian and how he wants to rewrite history. Again, I have no idea why Jillian Michaels is on a panel discussing news and politics, but I don't book that show. But this stupid thing happened. Listen to this.
Have you looked at some of the things that are being reviewed?
Slavery was a bad thing that was to talk about.
Okay.
Like, he's
not whitewashing slavery. So
he's not?
He's not. No,
okay.
He's not. And you cannot tie imperialism and racism and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does. But let's talk about the fact that when you look at slavery, let's talk about the fact
that slavery in America was.
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans owned slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
You realize that slavery is thousands of years old?
White people were
do you know who
was
the first race to try to end slavery? Well, what's controversial?
I'm very surprised.
This is an extraordinary exercise in historical revisionism.
I'm really surprised.
Do you realize that?
Jillian, I'm surprised that you're trying to litigate who was the beneficiary of slavery and who was not.
What I'm trying to tell you is that
in the context of American history. Okay. In the context of American history, what are you saying is incorrect by saying that it was white people oppressing black people?
Every single thing is like, oh, no, this is all because white people bad. And that's just not the truth. Like, for example, every single exhibit, I have a list of every single one. Like, people migrated from Cuba because white people bad. Not because of Castro. Yes, no, it's in there. That's what I'm saying. You don't actually know what's in there. Do you know that when you walk in the front door, the first thing you see is the gay flag?
One, she's a clown and an idiot. So then when she decided to speak somewhere else a few days later, she tried to further explain her nonsense.
I go on CNN and I get the topics ahead of time. So one of them is that Trump is trying to revise history by asking the Smithsonian to revisit some of their installations.
What does that mean, like art pieces?
I wasn't sure.
Okay.
So I asked the same question. And so I reached out to the comms team at the White House. And I said, listen, this is going to come up. Can I ask you, what installations is the administration taking umbrage with? Can you send it to me? So they send me a document, and it's about 50 pages.
Oh, my word.
Not one thing in the document, not one installation actually is about slavery. Not one.
Have you ever spoken about any of this type of subject?
I didn't even know about it. I literally didn't know about it until I was asked to kind of weigh in on it on CNN. But this one woman on the other side immediately goes to Trump is whitewashing slavery. So with unbelievable confidence, knowing what was in there, I'm like, no, he's not. And then when I said, no, he's not, then Abby Phillips and Richie Torres essentially, I guess, made some sort of assumption that I was trying to defend slavery. I'm not quite sure where they got that impression. We constantly talk about white supremacy, but we look the other way with black degeneracy. It begets white hostility that then validates and begets white degeneracy. And it's this impossible cycle. So I turned around to Richie Torres and I was like, do you realize that less than 2% of Americans white Americans owned slaves?
Wow.
And the reason I say this is I'm not trying to whitewash slavery. It's because not all white people are the enemy. That throughout history, there are two sides. There were horrors and atrocities and bad guys and disgusting things that happened at the hands of whites against blacks during slavery. But there were also the white people, the abolitionists, that abolished it in their states and that died to end it.
Wow.
And you know what else, guys? We stood shoulder to shoulder in the 60s. We stood shoulder to shoulder with the George Floyd situation. Like, we have done this throughout history. We have bent the trajectory of history in the right direction. But if you cannot turn around and say that without being called a racist, like, I don't know where we are. All I can tell you is it's now I'm like, all right, well, now we're here. I'm gonna, lean into the conversation where appropriate. But I also think there are two narratives going on. And white people, we really don't understand. We don't. And then black people are like, I don't have to explain this to you. And it's like, maybe you do. Maybe you do. And white people, even though you may not have been responsible for it and you don't want to get another lecture, I think you need to sit there and listen long enough to understand why the pain is still there. And it's like, we gotta fucking talk about it, guys. Gotta do it. So anyway, that happened. And now I'm here with you. So.
Okay. Where shall I begin? First, y'all know that Jillian Michaels adopted a black girl? Show the photo. Okay? So I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna need white people who decide to adopt black children to actually go through a significant American history as it pertains to black people immersion program. Okay? That's what I'm gonna need Jillian Michaels to do. So when white people like Jillian Michaels use the argument, did you know that only 2% of white people own slaves? But Jillian, did you mention the millions upon millions of white people who benefited from that same slave system? How about that? White people like Jillian Michaels, and then you could throw in Scott Jennings, they love to only go, well, that's slavery. Okay. So, Emancipation Proclamation, 1863, end of the Civil War, 1865, 12 years of Reconstruction, Great Compromise of 1877. By the way, if y'all go through the history, really go from the 1830s forward, anytime there was a compromise, that wasn't good for black people. So she then's talking about, and it's like, all these, the abolitionists, and yeah, the abolitionists, okay? So, and there was so much heat on this that a lot of people were very critical of Abby Phillips. So last night, Abby has to put out, opens her show with this 4-minute, just go to my iPad, just show it, don't have audio up. This 4-minute and 8-second open talking about history and how slavery was really, really bad. And so, because all this heat. So that was going on. And see, here's what I find to be interesting, again, when you listen to these people who throw out, and I love when they love to throw out, well, you had people who were sitting here and they were fighting, they were abolitionists. Well, just because somebody was an abolitionist doesn't quite mean they weren't racist. Now you may say, oh my God, Roland, what are you talking about? Well, let's just take Susan B. Anthony. Susan B. Anthony was, no, don't go to yet, please. I'll tell you when to go to it. Susan B. Anthony led the women's suffrage movement. Susan B. Anthony was an abolitionist. Susan B. Anthony advocated for the end of slavery, along with Elizabeth Cady Stanton. They did all of that. But the problem is, Susan B. Anthony was a little bit racist. So check this out. And this is just through Google and AI breakdown. Civil War, Anthony and Stanton campaigned to include women in the 14th and 15th Amendments, which aimed to grant citizenship and voting rights to black men. They were disappointed when these amendments did not extend voting rights to women and expressed concerns about limiting women's opportunities by making citizenship solely a privilege for men. Anthony's rhetoric during this period sometimes reflected the racial prejudices of the time. She argued, this is Susan B. Anthony, y'all, she argued that educated white women would be better voters than, quote, ignorant black men or immigrant men. She used a racial slur in talking to Frederick Douglass, which he called her ass out on it. And remember, Sojourner Truth, remember the poem, Ain't I a Woman? Well, that poem was written in response to Susan B. Anthony because they didn't see fighting for the rights of black women in the same vein as for white women. So, although Susan B. Anthony was an abolitionist, she's also racist because she said, how dare you give black men the right to vote, those ignorant black men, over us white women. And she actually said that white women would be better custodians of the vote than those black people. So you go after the Great Compromise of 1877, then you got 92 years of Jim Crow. I love it how people like Jillian Michaels act like that never happened, like Jim Crow just kind of was there. It was literally, officially 92 years. Reconstruction Amendments, 13, 14, 15. Live by radical Republicans. White people didn't have to have a law passed that said they had the right to vote. It was simply assumed. Initially, it was white men. Initially, it was property owners. And then through, as Barbara Jordan said in the Watergate hearings, through interpretation, through amendments, she said, now, the Constitution now included me in We the People. But even when that was the case, did not fully include us. And so when the Jillian Michaels of the world love to recite that only 2% of white people held slaves, but you had a lot of racist white people. And you can go through the 1800s. Then we can go to the 1900s. And Herbert Hoover, you had folks like Ida B. Wells Barnett who were campaigning on behalf of Herbert Hoover. Herbert Hoover was the leader of the lily white faction of the Republican Party, where you had these white Republicans who aligned with the KKK and the Reds to stop black people. Yes, Ethan McKaylee lays it out in his book on the Chicago Defender. Then, of course, you see Woodrow Wilson, Democrat. Hoover was Republican. Wilson, Democrat, one of the most violent racists in the world, brings back segregation in the federal workforce, shows the movie Birth of a Nation in the White House that revived the KKK. He threw William Monroe Trotter out of the White House, that Boston civil rights advocate, black newspaper owner, threw him out of the White House because he dared question him. And hell, we could keep going. President after president after president. See, so this idea that because only 2% of white people own slaves, that somehow does not just erase the literal centuries of white nationalism, white supremacy, white oppression. When you look at laws on the local, state, federal level, when you look at how African Americans were subjugated, ignored, degraded, destroyed. Blackman writes in his book, Slavery by Another Name, literally it's slavery without shackles. So when Jillian Michaels says in that second video that white people really should listen more and learn more, let's start with you, Jillian. In fact, you should go read Dr. King's book. Where do we go from here, KSL community? Because in that very book, he actually writes that he says that white people, he doesn't believe, are fully capable to understand the depths of racism in the history of this country. But then you're so MAGA and you're so willing to kiss Donald Trump's ass, you then go on with that stupid comment, well, I call the White House, and then Trump later tweets out, find the tweet, y'all, tweets out, oh, Smithsonian, they keep saying slavery was so bad. Yes, it was, and it is. And what the Jillian Michaels of the world don't seem to understand is that whether we're talking about Yasmin's Georgia, Robert is in Georgia, Mondale's North Carolina, that to this day, we literally are still living with the DNA of slavery, racism, discrimination in America. And whether a Jillian Michaels wants to believe that or not, that's not my problem, but facts are facts. And when you get these white folks like Jillian Michaels, and then when you get these immigrants like Patrick Bet David, who aligns with whiteness, when you get these people and they go, you guys are just making these things up, then when you get these ignorant Negroes, including some people of black immigrants, debating Amanda Seals on Jubilee, and when these people go, oh, you guys, you're embracing victim. No, we're actually just speaking facts. Because the facts are simple. When you have a control study of a black-sounding name and a white-sounding name, the exact same resume, the white person got a 50% chance more of getting a call back on a job. We talk about racism that exists in the prices of homes and the appraisal. Yep, that exists. When we talk about all of these different things that we face when black people literally are just walking around being black, shopping, barbecuing, delivering packages, trying to do our jobs, and these things happen, we know what's going on. This nation has always seen black people as being subservient, as being the help, whether in shackles or not. So Jillian, here's what I suggest you do. Stop talking about shit you know nothing about. And based upon that Netflix doc, you really don't know a lot about fitness and health. But the problem that we now have is we have a nation that's being led by ignorant people like her. And people who truly are violent racists, Stephen Miller, Donald Trump, the embracing of the Nick Fuentes of the world. Yeah, it's all happening before our very eyes. They are fully embracing bigotry and racism. They are empowering these people. They are allowing them to legislate their bigotry and their racism. But then we're supposed to believe that they're just nice people, they're not racist, when the evidence speaks for itself. Representative, I'll start with you. Your thoughts?
Yes, I absolutely agree. We are living in a time of slavery, another name, and it's unfortunate. It's still early in the regime. We have more years of this. So unfortunately, we need to buckle up, get ready to rumble. We have some work to do. This is just the beginning. And we do have to pick up the 2025 Project 2025 playbook and start preparing for how we're going to fight back on these proposals that are going to be forthcoming. And we just have to get ready to battle. I mean, I think that's the saving grace right now. We've been through this from civil rights time up until this moment. Black people, minorities in this country have had to fight with them over and over again, and we have continued to overcome, which is unfortunate. Like you said earlier, history is itself. And And we got work to do.
Actually, I'm going to Mondale. Mondale, you next.
Yeah, listen, Roland. I feel bad as I sit here as a black man from the South who actually part of our relationship, Roland, was based on you being one of the few people willing to cover at the national level the fact that the Klan was trying to kill me for taking down a Confederate monument. And you calling, checking in on me, and the fact that it's been 2 years since then, and I'm still getting death threats, and I don't spend many nights in my bed in a town where I'm mayor because those death threats are still real and coming in. It's part of like why this pisses me off so much, and the fact that this woman has access to a black child that calls her mother is scary as hell. And you just gave all of those pearls to a group of this ain't even swine. This is just mess. And let me tell you what I mean by that, because white people count on their base not giving a damn about facts and also just going off of the fact that they get to not deal with the stresses of what it means to be white in a privileged world. And what I mean by that is she throws out this 2% number and know that most white people aren't going to check it, or people in general, especially not on mainstream CNN. They're not going to let Abby go but so far. But if you do some research on when that 2% number came from, you're talking about a period where, one, there was not 50 states in this country. It was only 33. It was 1860s. She's talking about the 1860 census numbers. But that's also misleading because she's counting people from all 33 states, not the 15 states that were slave states at that time. But then if you do something different and you just base it on those 15 states, then that number jumps to 3.2%. But that ain't even enough, Roland. Because if you then remove the slaves, because the enslaved black people are also counted as part of that population, when you remove them, that number jumps to 4.7. Then if you do something crazy like count the 11 states that decided to secede that year, then that number jumps to 5.7 of people who own slaves. But if you account for the other people in those households, it jumps to 30%. Excuse my language. But 30% is a lot larger than the 2% she's trying to paint the narrative as. And that's what white people do. Oh, I didn't own slaves. Yeah, but your kids and your wife would have inherited those slaves had your white ass, talk about the man, died. So this misnomer of 2% is really around 30%. And that's the number that they don't want to talk about. And beyond just ownership, all of white people benefit from the subjugation of black people. So you don't have to be a slave owner to know what it means to be white and privileged in this country. You articulated very well, Roland, what it means to be owned or to be benefiting from not being owned or not sounding black, i.e., what it means to be over-policed, what it means to be over-sentenced, what it means to die younger, what it means to not be policed, talking about white folk, what it means not to have to worry about diabetes and then using old medicines because they don't see your pain like they see white people pain. So Jillian Michaels can miss me, her and all of these Trump people trying to rewrite history by going in Smithsonian saying that anything that talks about slavery as bad will be removed because it's woke. And I don't want people to think that it's not woke. You damn right it's woke, and we should all be woke, because the opposite of woke to means to be sleep. And it is a fool that wants to walk around in the middle of the day and pretend to be sleep while these people are erasing blackness in our eyes, in front of us.
Robert, what they desire, what they really and truthfully desire is for us to shut the hell up. They're like, see, here's what they really are mad at. They're mad that Yasmin, Mondale, yourself, and yours truly, they're like, dang, them Negroes know how to read. See, there's a reason they said, we catch you niggers reading, we gonna kill you. And that's why when slavery was over, when them white abolitionists were trying to come to the South, according to James D. Anderson's book, The Education of Blacks in the South, 1860 to 1935, when them white abolitionists were trying to rush to the South to open schools, they say, hey, we already started. It was 500 schools that already opened. 38% of white kids in D.C. were in school. 92% of black kids in Memphis were in school. Because them formerly enslaved people of African descent, they said when they were enslaved, they said, hold up, it's got to be something real damn powerful about that book for them to want to kill us if we were caught being taught how to read. And that's what they're angry about, Robert. They're angry that now, because we are exercising power, because you've got more than 60 black members of Congress, because you've got black state legislators in states and mayors and city council members and school board members, and you've got black CEOs and black businesses, what they mad about is, damn it, we now don't get to keep telling the lie. His story has been corrected to real history, and their desire is to go back to the old way of just driving a fictionalized version of America being so nice and wonderful and welcoming and free because, see, when the French gave us that damn statue, the Statue of Liberty, what did white America do? Let's flip this. Oh no, this is about immigrants. No. The Statue of Liberty was a gift to the United States for the end of slavery. And we played this video, Robert, on the show. And when you talk about that Statue of Liberty, they told the French, because initially the broken chains were supposed to be at the top. And America said, no, hell no. No, we can't have that. We can't have these broken chains on the Statue of Liberty. And they ordered the chain. No, we can't do that. We can't do that. They said, we can't do it, Robert. But what they didn't realize, Robert, was that the sculptor was not stupid. Because to the folk who watching, I'm going to pull up for y'all, to the folk who watching, when y'all look at that Statue of Liberty and y'all sit here and y'all see, oh my goodness, you see the torch, and you see this being held high, and you see all of this. You see all of this, and somebody, a sister did the video of it, and they now changed it. You see it, the holding of the flame, and you see the book being held. But what you don't see, Robert, is the base of the Statue of Liberty, and at her feet are the broken chains.
Broken shackles, that's right.
You're right, Roland. I think if you're of a certain age and from the South, you grew up learning the great lost cause and for the Civil War. I literally got my freshman year at Clark Atlanta University thinking that the Civil War was about states' rights and that people lived in harmony together in the South until that horrible Union Army came through and created all this confusion because the black folks and the white folks were living together happily, and they were going to end slavery in their own time. It was the imposition of the Northerners trying to destroy the Southern way of life that caused the South to have to secede from the nation. I know this from Miss Banks's AP history class back in 1998. This is just the reality of what people were taught back then. And the truth is, the reason they have been going on this campaign against education for the last 30 years is for this exact reason. First, they wanted to go after Common Core. Then they said, well, we have to get rid of quote-unquote critical race theory because they had to make sure that they can control the narrative of history. And once they saw that we had gotten free of the control of that narrative and got way more difficult to control people who actually had a sense of self, a sense of worth, a sense of history, that's when they've came through with people like Jillian Michaels and others who have decided to rewrite history. You can see right now, there are black folks who will swear up and down they have no African ancestry in their DNA. They were either here before or they came over here on the Mayflower. They have convinced people now that our struggle was not against the forces of white supremacy, but rather our real enemies were the people back in Africa who we came from. They want us to believe not what our eyes see, but what they tell us, and it has been effective and it has worked. There's a reason they had COINTELPRO. There's a reason that they try to control us through the media and through music. Right now, if Taylor Swift tried to make the exact same song that Sexy Red makes, they would never release it on radio. But they're fine with that music being released to our community. If you tried to make a country song that talked about killing white people the way that music kills black people, no record label would sign it. You're never going to see the normalization of the use of the N-word in music. The way you'll never hear the Jewish community talking about themselves that way because they will never put that out. It's all about controlling this narrative and controlling our communities to beat back that fight. Something I've noticed, and I think people should notice in this invasion of Ukraine by Russia, the first thing that the Russians did when they took the Donbass and Luhansk and Donetsk and the Kherson and Kharkiv, first thing they did was kidnap 20,000 Ukrainian children and put them into the middle of Russia to re-educate them to become Russian. They banned the teaching the Ukrainian language in Crimea once they took over in 2014. They took away their history. They took away their names. They took away their religion. They took away everything that made them them and replaced it with their own programming. So what Jillian Michaels is doing right now is parroting that same concept and that same idea, making sure that if you can miseducate black folks to the point that they don't know who the actual enemy was, just as St. Jude said in The Art of War, they won't even know they're in a fight until the fight has concluded. So it's important that we see these things and call them out for what they are, but most importantly, teach our own people their own information. You cannot trust the people who used to own you to teach you about how they owned you. You think they're going to tell you the truth? We have to take control of that. We have to realize that there's no one who's going to teach us but ourselves, and that the reason they want to keep this knowledge away from us is because it is so powerful. 2% of white people own slaves. Then why'd y'all have to put a 3/5 compromise in the Constitution? The slave population in South Carolina and Virginia and all over the South was larger than the white population. The whole concept is, if they can minimize that, if they can cut that out of history, then guess what? You no longer have a raison d'etre. You no longer have a casus belli to petition for reparations. You no longer have a justification even for affirmative action. You no longer have a justification to claim anything because they want you to believe that you were even from day one. And the problems of the black community are all because of, as they've argued since Reconstruction, because of thrift and temperance. Because black folks just genetically don't like raising their kids, don't like having nice things, don't like taking care of their community. Maybe if they just did better for themselves and wanted more, they would have a different outcome. We have to educate ourselves, support ourselves, build for ourselves. If nothing else, Donald Trump has taken the mask off of America and let us know these are exactly the people that you thought were your friends. These are the folks that you went to school with and you thought that they were down for the cause. Hell, they might have had a black boyfriend back in the day. You think they're on the team. Tickets to the cookout are over. Nobody else is invited until we get our stuff together. And Jillian Michaels and anybody else have to understand that you are dealing with a new movement, a new community, a new group. And we see how they are operating. And we're ready for the fight. And we're going to fight back starting now.
Last point I'll make here, go to my iPad. I'm going to show you how this before it gets taken down. If you go to nps.gov, you will see right here where it says abolition. You will see this is a photo of the chains at the feet of the Statue of Liberty. So if you go there and you'll see what it says, after the statue's dedication in 1886, the black press began to debunk romantic notions of the Statue of Liberty and American history. Racism and discrimination towards African Americans did not end after the Civil War or with the dedication of the statue. It continued on for more than a century. There's more you can read right there as well. And lastly, I want y'all to understand, because this is what Scott Jennings would never bring up. This is what Jillian Michaels would never bring up. And that is this here. This is a Business Insider article from 3 years ago. The Nazis studied U.S. eugenics and Jim Crow laws as a model for their policies. When they were criticized, one historian says they pointed to Mississippi. Folk, y'all have to understand that they literally studied segregated busing in the United States, and they took that back to Germany and said, we can do that with the Jews. Yes, the Nazis studied the United States in the 1930s to go, we can take some of that, and some of that. So when these people love trying to only go to slavery, y'all, that ain't gonna fly. And what we have to do, we gotta call them out every single time. We gotta put them on the spot. And we gotta challenge the black folk who got shows to say, don't put fools on the air. Tell your executive producers and your producers and your bookers, no, I'm not letting that bigot on the air have the conversations, because what they desire is, oh no, free speech. Should we have all thought? Hell no. If you bring your racism here, nah, I ain't amplifying you. I'm not putting you on. Nah, I put you on and tear your ass up like I did Richard Spencer and show people how idiotic they are. But I'm telling y'all can write it down. What their desire right now is, they want to amplify these people because their desire is to drive a white nationalist view. And this is why they understand the power of mass media. This is why they're pushing that lying content from PragerU. Kids, we showed you yesterday about Columbus and others, because they understand. Because you heard when Jillian said, oh, we stood shoulder to shoulder. No, Jillian, it's a whole bunch of white folks who did not stand shoulder to shoulder with us during the Black Freedom Movement. It was a lot of white folks who wasn't standing shoulder to shoulder during George Floyd. Because, Jillian, if you stood shoulder to shoulder with black folks during George Floyd, you wouldn't have said that dumb shit on CNN. Yasmin, Mondale, Robert, I appreciate y'all being on today's show. Thank you so very much for joining us. Folks, Robert made an excellent point about the narrative. If you want to understand why this show matters, if you want to understand why we are here, if you want to understand why we do this every single night, if you want to understand why we center black people, is that mural in the second office. Y'all, we already have the video, y'all pull it up. I told y'all this. Freedom's Journal, the first black newspaper, on their front page, March 16th, 1827, in the third paragraph, it says very succinctly, we wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We do this because we're not asking somebody, can we center African Americans? We do this because we're not asking somebody's permission to go long on these subjects. We do this because we're not asking somebody, please, pretty please, can we talk about how Black America is being impacted by the racist gerrymandered maps in Texas? We do this because what we have been seeing in the history of this country, and I got a mural in my office that says Black-owned media matters. Because we are not here if we do not have Black-owned media that we own and control, where we don't have to ask anybody's permission. Y'all, today, YouTube they drop it every single Wednesday. They drop their chart of the top shows. Last week, we were at our highest 40. This week, we're at 49. Why does that matter? It matters that because when you look at that chart, when you look at those top shows every single week, and the Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce show shot to #1 because of the Taylor Swift interview. But y'all, I'm gonna show you. These are the most popular podcast shows on YouTube. You'll see, go through here, you got, when you look for African Americans, the highest ranking one is Club Shay Shay, dealing with sports and stuff along those lines. Then when you got, I don't know who this black conservative dude is, I ain't never heard of him. Clearly he's been boosted. You got The Pivot, that's the sports guys, Ryan Clark and others. Then you got Neil deGrasse Tyson, Star Talk podcast. You got Nightcap with Shannon and Chad. You got the 85 South Comedy Show, great guys over there. Chico Bean, my alpha brother. When you go through here, you're gonna see Fat Joe, Jadakiss, ranked 44. You're gonna see right there number 49, Roland Martin Unfiltered. Now, you keep going down this list, you're looking for the black folks on here, you're going to see Joe Budden podcast. You're going to see, first of all, 5:20 in the morning. That's Jeff Teague and those guys. I met them at the Live Golf Tournament in Indianapolis. You got the Joe Budden podcast right here. Not sure. You got Gilbert Arenas right here at 74. Let me see here. Any other brothers and sisters on here? No sisters. That's something we want to help fix. But the bottom line here, y'all, we the only black-owned news show on here. We ain't dealing with sports and entertainment. Y'all, we do this because we know what Joe and Mika not gonna do. We know what CNN not gonna talk about. We know Fox News, they got black faces, Harris Faulkner and Lawrence B. Jones, but they ain't there for black people. They there to kiss Donald Trump's ass. We know what ABC, NBC, CBS, we know they scared. They scared to call me. I see folk can't even touch my resume on those shows. See, we don't care because I don't watch them. Because they're not interesting. See, I don't waste my time hoping they call, because on here, I can call my own name. And that's what ownership does. So when we ask y'all to support this, when I see more than 4,000 people on our YouTube channel, and the people on the app, and people on Facebook and on Twitch. Somebody said earlier, man, I don't give about more black people not watching. Y'all, we don't worry about who's not watching. We focus on who is watching. And if we got to do it person by person, day by day, what did I say? We change the minds of one person in the house. It impacts the house. The house impacts the neighbors. The neighbors impacts the street. The street impacts the block. The block impacts blocks. The blocks impacts the neighborhood. The neighborhoods impacts the city. The city impacts the county. The county impacts the state. The state impacts the nation. The nation impacts the world. So we say we want you to support us. September 4th, our 7th anniversary. We want you to take a screenshot of, first of all, let's do this here. Take a screenshot of this right here. You would take a screenshot right now of where we stand this week. That's right, the 49, we're the top 50. Last week we were the top 40, we're the top 50. Take a screenshot of that. We want y'all to take a screenshot. We want you to tell everybody on your social media, support Roland Martin Unfiltered financially. We ask $50 each per person per year, $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. If there's somebody say, I can't afford that, all I can afford is $25, good. 10, good. 5, good. 1, good. You can say I can give up more than that, good. I'm sitting here right now. I'm telling you, I'm depositing checks right now. Gloria Battle, Jacqueline Goldman, Shamia Smith, Shirley Morrow, Otho Williams, Alfredo Yates, Annie Caldwell, Cora Hill, Carol Johnson, Corinne Holden, Ernest Patterson Jr., Sandra Dowdy, Cheryl Dugan. Cheryl Dugan, y'all, Cheryl Dugan has been tithing to this show every month since we launched 7 years ago. Lisa Jenkins as well. Cheryl Dugan out of Oakland, but Lisa Jenkins as well. And I appreciate them. Willie Green and Lisa Green, J.B. Porter, J. Baker Porter, Charlie Richardson, Daryl Webb, Brenda Allen. Brenda Allen sent a couple of checks. Mary McQueen Welch, Martha Burns, Carlos Brown, Donald Harris, Karen Graham, Billy Robertson, Gloria Sibley, Joyce Bryant, Timothy Jeter, all y'all people on YouTube, y'all should be hitting the like button. Y'all can give on YouTube, but you can also give directly to us. I'm gonna tell you in a second how to do it. Melanie Tittle, a very consistent giver as well. Let's see here. T.R. Cook, same. We got June Sales. Let's see here. Stephanie Watkins, a consistent donor as well. We got, who's the name? Nader Lotfi. Let's see here. Jeanette Providence. Again, Stephanie Watkins. Rayford Crowder. Again, another Stephanie Watkins. Stephanie, I appreciate that. Let's see. Patricia Taylor. Let's see here. Again, Rayford Crowder, another Stephanie Watkins, Bernard Causley. We've got Tina Michelle Yarn. We've got, let's see here, who is this? I'm looking for the name. Carol David. Another Stephanie Watkins. Stephanie getting called up. I appreciate it, Stephanie. Rouse's Enterprises, LLC. Then I've got some money orders down here. Josephine Turner. Y'all, and that's not even including people who give via Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, PayPal. I'm telling y'all right now, we work with what we got. I don't waste my time. Oh yeah, all the black millionaires and billionaires and the celebrities hit me, hey man, can I get on your show? Can I do this? Can I do that? They ain't never cut a check. Very few have. Let me shout out my girl Pam Moore, longtime partner of Frankie Beverly. She made a donation the other day. She said, I believe in what y'all doing. Pam, I got your Zelle. I appreciate it. And she just got inducted to the NABJ Lifetime, in the NABJ Hall of Fame. But y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, and some of y'all, and I love these little Simple Simon Negroes, man, you always begging. The only reason the Chicago Defender could be the top black paper in the country, because black people bought the paper. The only reason Ebony magazine was as powerful as it was, because black folk subscribed to Ebony. They subscribed to Jet. They subscribed to Essence. They subscribed to Black Enterprise. Y'all, when I was at Savoy, they subscribed to Savoy. They subscribed to Uptown. This stuff ain't free. I want y'all to understand right now. Right now, I am literally working with a black company, Quantity, out of LA. They're rebuilding BlackStarNetwork.com. We're turning BlackStarNetwork.com into a news portal. Yo, the office next door to me, I could put 8 to 10 staffers in that office. So I'm gonna put this forth because, you know, God hears your thoughts. And I want 2 people who we pay to cover Congress. I ain't sending them out to the White House. That's a waste of damn time. I want 2 people covering Congress. I want 2 people who specifically are driving our vertical when it comes to black economics, who's writing about money and investments, all those things, black businesses, all that sort of stuff like that. I want to be able to hire what we call 5 predators. And that's a person who is a one-man band, one-woman band, and they call predators because they're a producer, they're editor, they can shoot, they can live stream, they can report, and put them in 5 major cities. I want to have 2 in Atlanta, 1 in Chicago. I want to have 1 that handles Houston, Dallas. Then I want to put somebody in Florida. And we want to have more, but I'm talking about how you strategically place people when it comes to content. We understand that if we got an additional $2 million a year of capital per year, we can hire anywhere from 10 to 12 people. If we got an infusion, whether we're talking about advertising, because at the end of the day, y'all, this ain't about you know, venture capital money, because you still got to be able to generate revenue. But if we got, let's say, $5 million, I'm telling you right now, at $5 million annually, whether it was advertising or through support, we can add 30 people. That quickly, we will be the largest black newsroom in the country. And when you talk about truly covering Black America, that's what would happen. So I've laid to y'all what the vision is. I've laid out to you what the plan is. Habakkuk chapter 2 says, write a vision down, make it plain, then wait on God. Well, I did that for a long time, but then we built. It's 7 years, September 4th. So if you want to help us move forward to the next level, join our Bring the Funk fan club. Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. Take a screenshot of this right now. Share it on your social media. Push that out. Tell your people to support this show. Tell them to watch this show. Tell them to watch the videos. Okay? Then, of course, you can, somebody talking about, what about Africa? Well, clearly, I have been to Liberia, Ethiopia, Ghana, and there are other places we want to go. I've been invited to. We're going to make that happen. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Please, Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037 7-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo RM Unfiltered. Zelle. Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Download the Black Star. First of all, if you want to get my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Mind, get that book right now, all these different places. Also, get the audio version I read on Audible. If you want to get our Black Star Network, Roland Martin Unfiltered swag, please go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. We got a new company that's doing our stuff. You can get it right here. The QR code's there as well. Support these Black-owned products you see on my set. We had Chef Joanne on about her various butters. Again, we want you to support that as well. Shopblackstarnetwork.com to get these various products. And don't forget, download the app Fanbase. And if you want to invest, they've hit $12.9 million. They're moving close to the goal of $17 million in Series A fundraising. Go to startengine.com/fanbase, startengine.com/fanbase. And some of y'all asked me about this shirt. Let me stand up. Give me a wide camera, Anthony. So my man Latasha Brown, my man Cliff Albright, they knew different African tops I had, so they sent me this dashiki. Black Star. Matter of fact, I'm gonna stand right in front. So just, so they sent me. I got it. They sent me this Black Voters Matter dashiki. So y'all see what it looks like right here. This is what it looks like on the back. And so then they have, you see right here, they got BVM on the sleeves as well. So not sure if they have it on their website. I think they do. So go to blackvotersmatter.com if y'all want to actually get this here. Somebody sent me, they said, man, we need to be selling that on shopblackstarnetwork.com. So I hope y'all check it out. Yeah, I went ahead and see I'm gonna rock my gray cowboy hat with it as well. All right, folks, that's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's see. So tomorrow, Milwaukee. I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow, Milwaukee. I'm gonna be speaking tomorrow at the Milwaukee Business Council. We're going to be talking a fireside chat on the importance of supplier diversity, of course, in this age of anti-DEI. So I'm flying back tomorrow night, so I'll actually be, I did this before, y'all. I had a noon speech in Milwaukee, and I did my show from Chicago O'Hare Airport because I had to catch a 9 o'clock flight. Same thing's going to happen tomorrow, so I'll actually be broadcasting live tomorrow from Chicago in O'Hare Airport. So if y'all see me in the airport, holler at the brother, but I'm gonna be live tomorrow. So y'all know I'm always try to do the show as much as I can. But I'll be live tomorrow from Chicago O'Hare Airport and back on our set on Friday. Folks, that's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Hi!